I'm looking at who you like. So some weeks I don't know who you like. Right now I'm looking at who you like, and man, there's some big plus lines. Big plus lines. What matchup do you want to get to first?
So I want to close with the main event. So I'd say let's start with the Abduraimov fight, and we'll go kind of in order to what I sent you on Twitter. That way we can finish with my big play.
All right, let's do it. Let's start it. Let's start it off. Let's go. So we're going to start with Marcin Tybura versus Shamil Abduraimov.
Yep, that's where we'll get started here. This is a spot where I like to take middle-of-the-road heavyweights and basically just blind bet the dog. Abduraimov is in his home nation of Russia, and honestly, this is Russia. So we might see a couple of questionable decisions, and guess which way they're going to go? They're going to go to the Russians. So if you can get a prop on Russians by decision, or if there's a Russian that's a slight underdog, I'd be all over him this week. There's some questionable shit that happens in Russia. So we're going to go ahead and lean on Abduraimov to get our night started here. I got him at about plus 139, plus 140. Him and Tybura are basically the same kind of fighter. Tybura is a little bit younger, but they're going to be, like I said, in Abduraimov's backyard. I think he's got the slightly crisper boxing. I actually think he's going to have a slight grappling advantage as well. They've got a lot of common opponents, and in every single one of their fights, Abduraimov basically had a better showing, except in one of them. So I just think he's the more polished guy out of the two. And I think being in front of his home nation, in front of his home country, his family, his friends, that should spur him on a little bit extra. And the judges won't mind helping him out if it's close.
Yeah, I'm looking at these plus lines, and I find this very, very, very appealing. Abduraimov getting your card started. I love it. All right. Now, I'm going to mispronounce some of these names, but let's get rolling. We got Krzysztof Jako versus Alan Ahmedovski, and that's the second match that you are interested in making a move on.
Yep, and that was pretty good. You about nailed it. Basically, my plan for UFC Russia is we're going to nut up and we're going to take some of these live dogs because, like you said, I'm coming off a losing week last week, just under 3 units, 2.8, something like that. And I'm just not happy about it coming off my sweep week. I don't want to bounce back with a negative. So we're going to take some shots this week and really try to erase that deficit. So Ahmedovski is coming in here. He's 8-0. He's a real solid power puncher, and it's a big step up in competition. Normally, I like to fade guys that are taking a step up in competition. But again, he's at home in Russia. And the guy he's facing, Krzysztof Jako, is coming off of 3 really nasty losses in a row. And a couple of those are pretty brutal KO losses as well. Anytime you get a guy who's got several KO losses in a row, you never know how their chin's going to hold up. And if his chin is questionable, a guy like Ahmedovski, who's a power puncher, is going to find it. He's also no stranger to the big show. It's not like he's coming right off the regional scene or anything like that. He has a couple of Bellator fights. So he's been under the big lights before. At plus 170, I just think that line is way too wide. All he needs is one shot to touch Jotko's chin, and this fight could be over.
Another big plus line. And the lines that you gave me for Abduraimov plus 139 and Ahmedovski at plus 170, are they still there, or has there been movement on them?
You know what? Unfortunately, I'm doing this show from my phone, so I don't have my my laptop up next to me like I usually do, and I can't check the lines at the moment.
Okay.
I do think that a little bit of money has come in on both of these dogs. I feel like I beat some of these line moves this time, but I don't think there's been a whole ton of movement, so you should still be able to get decent plus lines on them.
Yeah, I'm grabbing them now. Sorry, I should have done that in the first place. My fault. Abduraimov is now opened at plus 155 at BetOnline, now down to plus 119. So money coming in on the dog there. And the same with Ahmedovski. Opened at plus 170 at BetOnline, now plus 155. So a 15-cent move on to him. So both those guys coming in with money on them. And I'm going to jump on these dogs. I'm going to tail this complete card. I'm going to tail this complete card, and I'm going to hammer the bottle hard. And I have not been doing that all the time with you, but this is a good weekend for me. So I'm going to be rolling.
I like it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll
okay, I love it.
With you from home.
Okay, so then we have a female fight. Roxanne Modaferri versus Antonina Shevchenko. What's your feel here?
Well, my girl Roxy, I may be the only guy in the world who's going to tell you to put money on Roxanne Modaferri. This line is so far off. Now, everybody chilling at home, This is a value play 100%. This girl, Shevchenko, her older sister is a current UFC champion. She is the lesser Shevchenko. Anytime you've got two high-level fighters, there's always an A side and a B side. This Shevchenko is the B side. She's not as good as her sister is, and she's primarily a striker. She doesn't have a whole lot of MMA experience. She's 7-0 in MMA, and Roxanne Modaferri is a pioneer of the sport. She's been fighting since before the UFC had women's MMA. She's fought literally everybody in the women's divisions all around her, and she just shouldn't be a plus 300 underdog in this spot. Shevchenko doesn't have a ground game. She's a phenomenal striker. She's got great footwork, but I think Roxanne Modaferri actually has a strength advantage in this spot. One thing I noticed watching tape is, now this may be a little technical for some of you guys, but Shevchenko gives up the trip. She gets in there. She likes to clinch and throw knees. Roxanne Modaferri isn't the best wrestler, but once it gets to the ground, she's a legitimate submission threat. And getting it to the ground via trip is wide open in this spot. Shevchenko likes to get in close. She likes to get in range, clinch and throw knees. And as soon as she does, you can hook her ankle and put her on the mat. I really think Roxanne Modaferri can win this fight via submission. And it is Russia. So if she's wrestling and she's on top of this girl for the majority of the fight, they're going to value that in Russia. Russia, you get a lot of high-level wrestlers coming out of there, and so this girl is the grappler of the two. So if she puts Shevchenko on her back a couple of times, she probably gets the nod.
And you don't feel the fact that what is her nationality going up against the Russian?
So she is an American. I don't know that plays too much here. I don't think Shevchenko is actually a Russian. I mean, she's from over there, but I don't think she's technically Russian. She's from one of the neighboring countries. She's going to be the hometown favorite, technically speaking. And really, she probably wins this fight by decision if she can stick and move and stay up on her feet. But like I said, the difference between the striking skill set is a lot closer than the difference between the ground skill set. If it hits the ground, we're in Roxanne's world, and I wouldn't be surprised if she finished it by submission.
I love it. So far, we've gone 3 fights, plus 139, plus 170, and plus 300. Roxanne Modaferri is the only one where the market is going against her of the first two so far in this Roxanne fight. Roxanne opened a bet online at plus 250. She's now at plus 270. All right, let's keep rolling along here. We got Ivan Shatirikov versus Devin Clark. Here we go. What are you thinking here?
So first off, this guy's name is Ivan. He's from Russia. How is his fight name not Drago? I mean, there's a Rocky IV joke in there somewhere. I don't know how he missed the boat on that one. But this is a highlight fight for Shatirikov. They're setting him up with a dude in Devin Clark who has been questionable. He's explosive. He's fast. He's athletic. But you know what? He's got a real questionable chin. He's also too small for the division. He's got these big-ass, thick tree trunk legs, and that's the only reason he fights at 205. He should be fighting at 185. So he's going to be the smaller guy coming in here, coming against a hometown Russian who's got some real high-level experience. He's fought some former UFC fighters and some former champions, and he's handled each and every one of them. He's not a hype job coming out of Russia. This guy has really demolished some solid names. So they're giving him kind of a low ball in Devin Clark, and I've got Shatirikov inside the distance here. I think he gets it done in round 1 or in round 2.
Sorry, dude. Oh man, my lungs don't allow me to laugh, and it makes things very difficult. Makes my life very difficult. Well, I like it. I like Shatirikov, and it's inside the distance here with Shatirikov. And let's see what we are getting here. I will pull that up in a second. Here we go.
I got inside the distance at minus 107. I think he's sitting around minus 165, minus 170 on the betting line. And I wouldn't be opposed to just laying a larger bet on him straight if you can't get the inside the distance line.
Okay, cool. I like it. And Elio Topset talking about your Roxy play and everyone liking it. And Elio Topset saying she's plus 285. I love her. Okay, now we have the Gadzmirad Antigulov versus Michael Oleksichuk. I'm not sure if I hit that right, but that's the big fight before the big heavyweight battle. So what do you see happening here?
So first off, I'm going to let everybody know this is my favorite play on the card. This is a two-teamer parlay. We are going to start and end the card on this parlay. Michael Olejniczuk is in the second fight of the night, and I'm going to tie him with the main event. This is a fight where we've got a guy who's just an aging fighter who has kind of underperformed. He's got a decent submission game, but if he can't be in dominant position on the ground, he's more than likely not going to win the fight. Michael Lord Olejniczuk, I just call him Lord because first off, he's a complete badass. And second, his last name is too hard to say. So Lord is just an absolute monster. Somehow the last time he fought in the UFC, I got him inside the distance at like plus 250, I think, and I gave that out to you guys here on the show, and that cashed in round one. He's a beast. He's actually probably going to be headed towards title contention or the top 5 of this division very, very soon. So the fact that we're getting him at around minus 200, I love it. He can grind this dude out basically as long as he doesn't get submitted in round 1. He should be winning this fight either in round 2 in dominant TKO fashion, or he'll be able to easily grind a decision. And again, he's going to be one of those hometown type of guys where the judges will nod if it's close. I don't expect it to be close.
I like it. I like it. And this is part of your parlay that includes the big boy match at the end. Overeem and Alistair Overeem sighting up against Alexei Oleinik. What do you see happening in this big boy match?
This is the Reem all day. Olenic is stepping in as a last short notice replacement for Overeem's former opponent who dropped out due to injury. So he's going to have a short camp. He's not going to be in the best of shape, more than likely, because he's stepping in on late notice. And really, he's ground game or bust. His fight name is the Boa Constrictor. He can choke a freaking ox unconscious. I'm not even kidding. If he gets a hold of you, it's over. Overeem, on the other hand, is a real seasoned veteran striker. He's going to keep the distance. He's going to stay at range. He's going to pick this guy apart and probably knock him out in the first or the second round. Because on the feet, he's got nothing for Overeem. They're not even close. And Overeem has a couple of defenses and fights against Fabricio Verdum. Those of you who follow the UFC know Fabricio Verdum. He's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time and probably one of the best submission fighters we've ever seen in the octagon. Overeem kept his distance and stayed off the ground with a guy like that. So I do not expect him to get caught in a submission in this spot. And if he can't get caught in a submission, he's not going to lose the fight. Again, I feel like this fight doesn't go the distance. It's a 5-round main eventer, but taking Overeem inside the distance is like minus 170 or something. There's no value there whatsoever. I'm going to parlay Overeem with Lord at the beginning of the fight card, and that's going to be my biggest play on the card. I don't normally do anything more than just 1 unit picks. That's kind of my style, is to go 1 unit per play. I might throw 2 or 3 units on this parlay just because we're taking so many dogs. It's kind of an insurance bet. As long as Lord gets it done at the beginning of the night, then we're on Overeem. And if that cashes and we whiff on a couple of these dogs, hey, we'll break even for the night.
That's interesting. So for me, hammering this card, you don't think I go a unit on each. You think that I make the parlay bigger than the rest of them?
I would say just do 2 units on the parlay.
Okay.
I expect 1 or more of these dogs to come through. I mean, don't go super hard on any play. As Pete always told us, bankroll management. But, just kind of as an insurance policy, this is my favorite play on the card, so I'll be going a little bit bigger on it just in case. Because there's a good chance Roxanne Modaferri doesn't cash. She's a massive 300 underdog. Obviously, if we hit her, our night's pretty much set. I do like the other dog plays that we've got, and I expect them to come through. But it's fighting. You never know. You're locking 2 human beings in a cage, and anything can happen. Shit gets crazy. That's why we love this.
It is. It is why we like it. Okay, yeah, Lucky Lefty, you got it. So I'm going to be tailing this entire card this Saturday. Shamil Abduraimov at plus 139. Alan Ahmedovski at plus 170. Roxanne Modaferri at plus 300. And then Ivan Shatirikov. And if you can't get inside the distance at minus 107, he's minus 170 for the fight. And then the parlay at plus 114 is Michael Lord Olejniczuk and Alistair Overeem. Olejniczuk minus 200, Overeem minus 231. That parlay comes out to plus 114. Now, I have one last question. What about, instead of taking Shatirikov, what about adding one parlay that's Lord to Overeem, and instead of taking Shatirikov alone, add another parlay, Shatirikov, Lord, Overeem?
I like that. You could very easily round robin those guys. I think that's not a half bad idea. They're all right in the ballpark that you're going to be getting just better than even money. So if you want to round robin those 3 favorites, I'm sold on all of them. I think they all get it done. And even if you want to parlay all three, I'd say go for it.
That is what I am going to do. I am going to do because the other spots are dog spots. So why don't you turn everything into dog spots, pretty much? I like it. That's great stuff. Great stuff. So our man, Animarak, 7-0 sweep 2 fight cards ago. Last fight card down 2.8 units. And you know, when this guy wants to get back in the W column, he does it. And I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. AN says, can someone recap the UFC picks, please? Yes. Abduraimov at plus 139. Ahmedovski at plus 170. Modaferri at plus 300. Shevchenko inside the distance or outright. And then the parlay would be Lord, Oluk at minus 200, and Overeem at minus 231. Oh, man, what a treat it is to roll with you, Animarak. Where can we find you on Twitter? Tell us a little bit about the podcast, the MMA podcast you got rolling.
Absolutely. I'm Maximus in 3D on Twitter if you want to follow me. I'm kind of a geek. I get into all kinds of stuff there. If you just want my MMA information, I'm the Die Hard MMA podcast, and that's at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter. I go into a little more depth on all of these things and try to have fun. I'm trying to turn, sports bettors into MMA bettors and casuals into hardcore fans over there. Having a lot of fun on the podcast, and I love interacting with people. So come hang out with me, tweet at me, talk some shit. It's all good. Let's do it.
I love it. Elio Topset says his best. He says, I can see Animarak is not fucking around tomorrow. I love it. Okay, I'm going to jump on these.
Going for it.
I'm also going to jump on these now. Do you think there'll be, because a couple of your guys, there's heavy movement going on them right now. So do you think that's also an important piece to get on them now?
In this case, I actually do think it is. This is Russia. So these guys are drinking and gambling, like you said. I expect all the Russian fighters probably to get line movement their direction. People are going to be laying money on them from their home country. The other thing to be concerned with is, I know I said it a little bit before, but being in Russia, there is government activity. There's some shady stuff that goes on in the back of these kinds of things. People get paid to take dives, and you can see big line moves. They come in, especially on these underdogs. The hometown is going to lay money on these fighters. I don't expect the dog lines to stay around too long. And the bigger favorites, they're going to turn into even bigger favorites. So especially on the parlays, if you want to get those, like I said, even money or slight plus money, the sooner you get on them, the better.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us,
Roxanne's
Animarak.
the only one I might wait on. Since she's going to be the big underdog, I actually expect Roxanne's dog line might get a little juicier closer to fight time.
Oh, really? Okay, that's a great note. So hammer everything except for Roxy.
Yep.
Okay,
yep. Like
beautiful.
I said, I may be the only guy telling you to bet Roxanne Modaferri.
I love it. Shout out to our man, Animarak. Great stuff. Okay, and one last thing, Clint. What time do they start, Eastern, Pacific? What time do the fights start for us?
I actually think they start at like 11 a.m. Eastern time because it is in Russia. So it's going to be an early start time. So everybody make sure you've got your vodka out with your breakfast.
That will not be a problem. That will not be a problem for me. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So 10:30 Eastern, says Christopher Hogan. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for all of those goods. I absolutely love it. Our man, Animarak, on the scene.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.